As the domestic club season draws to an end, we look ahead to a busy summer of international football. Here's the schedule for the upcoming Nations League matches. They'll all be played in Denver. The US will face Honduras June 3rd, and as you can see, the final June 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern. And welcome back to our HQ studios. Let's take a look at the preliminary roster for the US. Jimmy, there is a lot of expectations on the senior men's national team. We had Greg Berhalter on the show just a couple of weeks ago that talked about the importance of this summer. What are your expectations of the group and what stands out to you about this roster?
Well, all the big names obviously stand out for me, Poppy, and I want to see Christian Pulisic and company continue to get games together. I think it's really important to build that rapport. And if we look at Christian Pulisic in particular, I think I'll use him as an example of when the last time the national team got together, he was going through a bit of a rut with Chelsea. He wasn't playing a lot, and then he went in with the team, and I feel like he just was around his friends. He started to enjoy the game. We see the same thing with Gio Reyna with Borussia Dortmund. He came out of that camp and all of a sudden he got that spark again and started to enjoy it again. And I think that's what matters when you play for your national team. And I think that speaks volumes about our team in particular, that they really enjoy each other. But these are two very important games for us to continue to whittle down who we want our top 11 players to be. How are we going to play and how are we going to move within that system that Greg Berhalter has in place? So these are really big games. And I hope, of course, we always get a crack at Mexico in a meaningful game. We need those bragging rights, everybody. And I'm expecting us to come out and play very well in these two games.
Yeah, Jimmy, I'm going to jump on the back of what you just said there about the squad and the confidence. And it's almost as if the players can't wait to get into camp, where not too long ago almost was that feeling that players were happy not necessarily to get called up for the US national team. It was a confusing time. There was a lot of anger towards the US soccer after what happened of failing to qualify for the World Cup. But this is a squad of players that like each other. The chemistry is awesome because they clearly want to be in a camp. They want to get ready. They want to hang out. They want to practice. They're posting on social media. There's a joy when they get back into US national team once again. And it always, for me, going back generations, even to Jimmy's time, which was way, way long ago.
Come on.
The chemistry was incredible there. Getting into the US national team was always difficult. And it was amazing when you got that chance. It was almost like gold dust getting an opportunity at cap. But now you're seeing a large squad. It's a big names there. But there's a lot of players who will be battling, and certainly be some players who will be disappointed that they don't make the final cut to go into these games. But I'm really looking forward to the friendly game beforehand as well. I think this is going to be a really good time for Greg Berhalter and for us as well. You know, being a part of this and being able to watch these players and having Greg on the show, it's a joy. It's fun to be a part of it all and watch them come together. Hopefully the results follow suit.
Definitely, Ian. And let me tell you something. Everybody is have an eye on the U.S. national team because they know this generation has got something. And what you were mentioning about that they want to go to the national team, they want to do well, they know what they are building. They are still, most of them, they are in teams where they are touching almost silverware. All of them, they are surrounded by very competitive players playing for very competitive teams that they are trying to arrive to final. They are touching finals. They are touching silverware. And that's something that gets in you. And when you go to the national team, you share it with the rest of your teammates. Listen, we've done that. We've been there, almost there, almost there. We touched that one. So that's something that you start building. And I think this national team, they know what they are building and they know that they can do well. That's why they are looking forward to see. Everybody's trying to see if they do well, because I think it's very important that the United States has got a massive men's national team, a strong one, who can arrive to 2022, or maybe 2026 with a very strong team where they can maybe try and face those Brazil, England, Spain, and try to maybe, why not, arrive to the late stages.
Yeah, whenever I get the chance to see like a provisional squad of players, I always go through the names. I always go through, obviously, their birth year as well. There's 13 players in this provisional squad that's born from 2000 onwards. It's incredible how young the squad is, and Greg clearly has a plan for the future, mixing youth with a bit of experience, the Euro players with MLS. He has a fabulous amount of talent to choose from, and as Jimmy mentioned earlier on, these Euro players come in and they want to be there. They want to help the next generation and they want to improve US men's national team. And this is a big chance for them to do so.
And these young US players, as we've seen all season in Champions League action, have been making such a splash over in Europe. As we saw, the US will face Honduras June 3rd. Here's a look at some notable players on their roster, Jimmy. Figueroa on there, been such a mainstay for this side, 38 years old, over 160 caps. No surprise to see him on there.
Yeah, no question. He has a ton of experience. And when I see these names, and we'll see some other players from the other countries that are in this, a lot of them have been boosted and have gotten that experience coming to MLS. And I feel like that's been a really fun, let's say, consequence or ripple effect of having MLS. I mean, in some ways, you wanted to help build the American player, help build the Canadian player, but not really the ones in the smaller Concacaf region, smaller countries. And it's really helped develop that country and give them a place to play and give them a platform to shine. And Maynor Figueroa has been one of many. Boniek Garcia is another player that I really like from the Houston Dynamo, and Brian Acosta. I mean, they just have a lot of special players in their team, and that's what makes them difficult to beat. And as we learned through Olympic qualifying, you can't sleep on any of the competition in CONCACAF.
No, listen, it's a great squad, and I love the point you make there, Jimmy, but that's also a credit to Major League Soccer, it's a credit to CONCACAF, and also a credit to each federation for improving their generation of players coming through the academies. I mean, if you go back to Honduras, what they have done in the Olympics over years, fantastic, you know, and continuing to give youth an opportunity to play. But there is still a lot of experience in that provisional squad right there. Jerry Binks, and obviously you have a lot of talent there as well with some of the youngsters coming through, getting a chance, hopefully, when they make the final Cup. But this is a squad that's not playing well. They haven't won a game since 2019 when they've been together. If you go back through the friendly games, and then of course the pandemic hit, so they haven't played too many, but recently lost to Greece. Didn't play great in that game either. And the record against the US is not great. So if the US go out, obviously, because of losing this game, I'll be incredibly disappointed. But you've always got to watch out for a team like Honduras, because as you see the names up there, Kyotos, the Bengsons, the Alices, they know how to find the back of the net if you give them a chance. And every now and again, every dog has his day.
Definitely, and one more thing, very important, that we've been talking about the United States national team. One from there, different countries are all apart, and they have to get together a lot of time to get together and try to build up something. This Honduras team, half of the team is from one team, the Olympia. They are 12 players that they are playing from the same team, another one from the Vida. So 80% or 70% of this team, they are playing together. That's something very important. They know each other, they train each other. They kind of got something in between them. We have to remember Spanish national team, when they won the World Cup, the Euros, half of the team was Barcelona team that was playing under Pep Guardiola's side. And that's something very important, because the understanding into the game, the confidence, how they look at each other is very important. How they got stick together for this kind of competition is very important. So watch out with this situation, because it's something that even though in the tough moments, because they got together and know very well, they can move forward. So it's going to be a very tough game.
So that's who the US will meet come June 3rd. Let's take a look at Costa Rica. As you can see here, some notable players. There's several players on this roster that play for MLS clubs, but some big European names as well, Jimmy, like Keylor Navas.
Keylor Navas, I mean, I'm just going to put my flag on the ground and say he's probably the best male player that's ever come out of CONCACAF. I mean, he is so successful. He flies under the radar, doesn't get the respect that he deserves. And he is tremendous. Anytime he's between the sticks, I think your team has a chance to win. But we see some other names there, Brian Ruiz, Joel Campbell. You know, these are some throwbacks, but that just kind of speaks to where Costa Rica is right now. But I love the Ticos. They're probably my second favorite team. I love cheering them on. They have a special group of players that have done some magical things over the years. Now, just kind of curious about the next generation with them. Who is going to step up and take over for these big names? That's going to be the big question for them. But I do think they have a chance. They play Mexico in the first semifinal. And then maybe they have a chance at the U.S. in the final, or maybe in the third round. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to have to wait and see. Obviously, we want U.S.-Mexico in the final, but I think the Ticos always have a chance, and I think Keylor Navas is a big reason why.
Definitely. Having the keeper in one of the best form that we've seen in his whole career, I think is very important, because from that forward, you're going to control everything. And with the save that he's done, I think it's been just phenomenal. But we have to never sleep on Mexico. The amount of good players that they got at the moment, this generation is fantastic. And they got that balance between young players with experienced players like Guardado, Raúl Jiménez. Before his injury, he was just phenomenal. We got Diego Lainez, that has been amazing in Betis, creating so many chances and becoming a very important player, even though of his age. I think it's going to be a very tough game against Mexico. The Costa Rican team is got, yeah, of course, they are a strong team. The fitness-wise, they is always imposing again in this competition. But I think that Mexico in this side is just too strong, too much quality on the squad, and I think they're going to be the ones who move forward to the final.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I think when you look at what Mexico bring, it's immense talent. It's a roster full of experience. There's a lot of youth involved there. Sure, there's a few MLS players in there, but no Chicharito, which is obviously one that's caught me by surprise with the form that he's in. And he's not been a part of the national team since September 2019. So Tata actually making sure that everybody knows that if he keeps on scoring goals, he'll be back in the national team within no time. But coincidentally, Rodolfo Pizarro gets picked for the national team. Efrain Alvarez gets picked for the national team. And it confused me because can't exactly say that Pizarro is playing well. Can't say Alvarez is playing well either, even though I like both of those as players. I think Chicharito deserved an opportunity at least to be in that provisional squad so that he had a chance, if he continued to score goals, to be a part of this. But Mexico are a very, very good side. And I don't give Costa Rica much hope in the semi-final. I really don't. I'm really actually excited to see what Mexico do for starting 11 because Tata's under pressure, immense pressure, because he also is watching what the US national team are doing as well. But he's got to be very careful. When you leave out a big name like Chicharito and everybody wants him to be in amongst the squad, and of course we all know the history with Carlos Vela not being in the squad, there's controversy there, and I think the pressure can come on your shoulders very quickly when it comes to the Mexican media and their own supporters. They want to see the biggest names, the best players playing for the Mexican national team, but there's some talent in there, and the squad is immense what they have. I don't give Costa Rica much of a chance, similar to what I see from Honduras against the US.
And there's so much media around Mexico when they meet the US in particular, Jimmy, with the huge rivalry between the two countries. Who's one to watch for you for Tata Martino's side?
That's a good question. To Ian's point, I'm kind of curious, not only starting 11, but the 23-man roster overall. I do like two younger players that play for Chivas Guadalajara, Antuna and Alexis Vega. They both shined for Olympic qualifying for Mexico. I think they're very special. Alexis Vega in particular really pulls the strings as the number 10. But very similar to the U.S. in a lot of different ways. They have a plethora of options. I mean, they can hurt you, and they can line up in different ways. My big curiosity is if Raul Jimenez isn't back because of that skull fracture, and I'd be surprised if he was, even at 6 months post-injury. I'm curious who they run out at the number 9, because if they can't score goals, if they struggle to score goals, I think there will be a lot of heat on Tata Martino to not, or to say and question him as to why isn't Chicharito in the team? He's on fire right now with the Galaxy. Current form should matter no matter what his age is. So I feel like it's going to fall down to maybe this responsibility to some of the younger players like an Antuna or Alexis Vega. And they have shown under a lot of pressure that they can step up and shine. So look out for those two in particular.
So the Nations League will kick off a vibrant summer of football in Concacaf's 60th anniversary year. The Nations League finals will be eagerly followed by the highly anticipated 2021 Gold Cup. And here you can see some key dates for the US as a busy schedule continues. They've got the Gold Cup, World Cup qualifiers coming up as well. So a busy summer of international football awaits with the Nations League matches just around the corner, and all eyes will be on Greg Berhalter and the US men's national team come June in Denver.